Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, my lovely friends. Welcome back to the podcast this week. I'm so excited to be with you. And if you have clicked play on this episode, you are really curious about new seller tips. So it's possible you are new to the whole Etsy scene. You are finally getting ready to launch a shop. And I am so excited that I can share this with you. I was sat down for the last couple days brainstorming the tips that I think would really kickstart new sellers. And the list is kind of long, like 20. And I'm thinking to myself, is this too long? And I don't care. I'm just gonna do it Lizzie style. And we're just gonna overshare in the best possible way and no gatekeeping. I can't wait for how much this is gonna fire you up. So a little bit of what's been going on this week. On Monday, just a few days ago, my episode interview on the Gold Digger podcast with 𝗗𝗓𝗗𝗧 aired. I'm completely in shock still. And it was earlier than we'd expected. So I'm just over here just so ecstatic. And actually, if you are here from the Gold Digger podcast, I just want to give you the biggest Lizzie Smiley, How to Sell Your Stuff hug. We are so glad to have you. You are already part of our family. And I'm geeked out to share Etsy with you because it makes me so happy. So I'll share that episode link for anyone who didn't hear it already that would like to. It's an absolute honor. Jenna, they always say never meet your heroes, but Jenna, she was somehow even more lovely and down to earth and charming than her podcast persona, which we already are in love with. So, big hugs over to her. She's amazing. So yes, welcome. We're having so much fun. And then huge announcement this week. If you've been watching my Instagram stories, I'm at How to Sell Your Stuff on Instagram, and I'm quite busy over there. And if you've been watching the stories, I kind of was putting out a teaser that I've been working on a really big project. So I've sold an Etsy course for years, and it's great. It's got every single stone unturned or turned over. It's amazing. But I really wanted to have something really low ticket that people who just are curious about Etsy are ready to get started. And they just want to jump in, and it's specific for new sellers just getting started. So I have put together a course. It's called 6-Figure Secrets to Getting Started on Etsy. It's on mega sale right now. So if you are curious about that, you may want to go down into the show notes where I have linked that, and you can get it. And literally next week you could get your Etsy shop launched, and it'll have everything in there that you need to learn and know what you're doing. And I'm just cheering for you. I'm here for you to have the success, fulfill the dream. Success looks different for all of us. And so whatever that looks like for you, if I can help you, I will bend over backwards to do so. Also, this went over really well last week, so I'm doing it again. I have a weekly trend spotting report that I do. So I send out of every Monday to my subscribers who are part of this membership. I send an email, and it has a list and a video of all of the trends that are happening at a given time. They actually change on a weekly basis. So it's this overview of trends, how to apply them, how they're showing up in the marketplace. And I include 5 hot product opportunities, half for the print on demand space, half for the digital product space. And I just find where there's opportunities where there's demand for something, but still really low competition. I show you what it is, how to do it, what the application is of that opportunity, and it can kind of help you get some, especially if you're super busy, you don't necessarily have time to go trend hunting, you don't necessarily have time to go find opportunities. There's always lots there. So what I'm doing again is I'm gonna run the sale. It's usually $37 a month to get that weekly email with all that in it. But right now you can, for $17, you can get your first month for just $17. And if you need to use the code KEEP20. Keep 20 will get you the first month for 17. And a bunch of the others are in there. You're just got a whole bunch of trend reports in there that are going to help you so much. Okay, that's our housekeeping for right now. Let's dive into these tips. I'm talking totally free form today. I just have my basic list. So the first tip number 1, question I get asked all the time by new Etsy sellers or by people who are considering Etsy is what I should say, is they ask me, okay, Lizzie, I want to do this, but should I start with my own website or should I start with my Etsy shop? I'm conflicted on this. I feel like I hear different information. And so I'm going to make this really simple. You start with an Etsy shop and eventually you may want to add your own website. That's great, although you don't have to. But the reason you want to start with Etsy is because it really lowers the bar about what you have to learn, because Etsy gathers all the people for you. They create the marketplace. They send the customers. All you have to figure out is how to position your product. What should I sell? What's in demand? How do I set up a listing? How do I make it findable and attractive, and how do I price it? And then game, set, match, you're good. Whereas if you do your own website, you then have to manage a website, build a website, send traffic to the website, which means you're figuring out ads and social media and other things to send the traffic. It's just a lot to learn all of the product positioning and that together. So you start with your Etsy shop and you let them send the traffic. You get really good at that. You get to where you've got lots of listings, you're making lots of sales, and then you start adding the other factors, and you can eventually build into your own website. So that's that. The second question I get a lot is okay, well, what's possible on Etsy? Because as a new seller, I hear things about shop suspensions. I hear things about, I hear things about, it's really saturated. That was the word I was looking for. It's really saturated and new shops can't make it. Okay, so here's the skinny on that. There are times when new shops get suspended. Sometimes it's because they've actually broken a rule. So long as you read the house rules for Etsy, you're going to be fine. Or if you're violating intellectual property, which we'll get into here a little more in a little bit. But typically when a brand new shop gets suspended, it's because of the automated bots that are on Etsy trying to look for drop shippers. So you can go through an appeal process and get your shop back. The vast majority of shops, they get them back. You have to be patient. It does take some time. Etsy customer service is not the best thing on the planet, but it's not like a big deterrent. So you definitely want to do that. You definitely don't want to worry about shop suspensions. The second piece of that is that that it's too saturated. And listen, I work with Etsy sellers constantly, new sellers. I'm on the platform doing research every single day. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of new shops that are just started 2 months ago, that started less than 2 years ago, less than 1 year ago, that started last month, that are getting tons of sales. The saturation concept is such a myth. Now, if you're going to be the, 1 millionth clay jewelry seller on Etsy, you could run into some saturation if you don't pay attention, but you could actually still do it. And the trick is trends. The trick is finding out where the demand is, where the trends are, and finding a way to differentiate yourself. And then saturation, it just doesn't exist for you because you're constantly watching the trends and they're always changing. So literally the sky is the limit. We have people who come on the podcast who've made several $1 million on Etsy. We've had people come on the podcast who started a couple months ago and have already made a few $1,000s on Etsy. It took me about 6 months to start really making good money on Etsy because there was so much that I didn't know and there weren't the courses at the time and the help and the coaches that there are today. So literally so much is possible on Etsy. New sellers are making it left and right. And I'm totally here to hold your hand and get you what you need to get there. Number 3 is how much time does it take? A lot of folks are really concerned that, it's going to take too much of their time. They've got to have huge blocks of time to be successful on Etsy. And it's really just not true. Obviously, the more time you can put towards anything, the more you can leverage. But you'd be better off starting now and giving it 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week for the next year, than not starting at all until next year, hoping you have more time. In that 30 minutes a day, you could get yourself to several thousands of dollars of sales per month. So it's not so much how much time you put toward it. I'm so guilty of this. I'm the kind of person where a lot of times I won't start something if I don't have a big block of time to do it in. And as a busy mom who's homeschooling, has a toddler, running businesses, has a farm, spends half the year in Wisconsin, I've got a lot of plates that I spin, and I can really get in my own head about I don't have enough time. And so you have to break things down into small pieces. Okay, I've got 30 minutes. I'm just going to open my shop. tomorrow I've got 30 minutes. I am going to create the first product. You see what I'm saying? So break it down into small steps. Consistency, whatever amount of time you can do, try to do it consistently every day or every other day or even once or twice a week, whatever you can do. But it doesn't take the hours and hours and hours of devotion to make some money that a lot of people think that it does. Number 4 is, this is so fun. So a lot of folks are worried about judgment, like what people will think. Family members, friends, spouses, old high school, what do you even call them? Old, I don't know, people you knew from high school. That is the most relatable thing to me. Like, I sit here on this podcast in front of thousands and thousands of people every week, just hoping and praying no one from my high school knows this exists. And I'm sure if they did, they'd be super lovely. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm a person too. I'm right there with you. Here's the great thing about Etsy. Unlike me, your face and voice are not plastered all over the internet. It's like the original faceless online business. Nobody has to know you've started an Etsy shop. And there's kind of this other myth that like, oh, you've got to get your friends and family to make the first couple sales or it won't work. Nah. I've started how many shops now? 4 shops now that I didn't tell anybody about. And I got sales without having the family and friends help. So you're going to be just fine. And you don't have to tell anyone. And if you don't want to tell anyone, but you want to tell someone, just email me, DM me and be like, Lizzie, nobody else but you knows. But I just launched my Etsy shop and I will be your hype girl all the way. Okay, number 5, what does it cost to start? To open an Etsy shop, there is a flat $15 fee. So you pay $15 to open, and then that's it. And that's a newer thing that they instituted. Again, they're trying to manage like people who aren't serious coming on the platform or drop shippers and things like that. So super low cost to entry. And then every time that you make a listing, you will pay 20 cents. So like you put the listing up and every time it sells, or if it goes for 3 months without selling, it'll renew for 20 cents. So 20 cents per listing. And then when a product is purchased, you pay a transaction fee to Etsy. It's like their fee for having the marketplace for you and a processing fee to like the credit card processor. And so the transaction fee is 6.5%. And the processing fee, I believe it's like 3%. And then 50 cents, 3.25% and 50 cents, something marginal like that. Really, here's the bottom line. I actually hate numbers. Here's the bottom line. You need to assume whatever you're selling, that 10% of it's basically going to go to the Etsy platform. So your profit, you need to have enough profit to cover their 10% and then pay you something. That's like the bottom line. If you are really a numbers person, please say a prayer for me. But there is this incredible app called Profit Tree. My friend Hannah Gardner, who's another like super, super successful Etsy seller, has created this program and she's like a numbers whiz. She is my numbers friend. I'm obsessed with her. And you can sign up for Profit Tree for like a flat $67 and have lifetime access to this thing. And it will do all of these calculations for you. Like really, really helps you get into the nitty gritty of what all of your, like the fees for Etsy, but also like your what it costs to make your products, supplies, all of it. It'll itemize it. It's especially good for like physical products. That's what I would recommend. So look into Profit Tree and I'll have it linked with like the coupon code for the $67 lifetime deal if you want to really, really geek out on numbers. So those are the things that it costs. You can get into we could get into the weeds about offsite ads, which is where if Etsy puts your products in front of potential shoppers, it puts it on the internet in front of people and they buy from that link within 30 days, then you can get charged a 15% offsite ads fee. So that's kind of important to know because most people wouldn't necessarily have that much profit margin in to give Etsy a 25%, the 15 plus the 10. But in your settings, you can turn that off. That's an option that up until you make $10,000 a year on Etsy, you can turn off the offsite ads. That's not really a startup fee. It's just something that I don't want to take you by surprise later. Okay. Number 6, I'm going to talk to you about what the types of products there are that you can sell on Etsy because there's some confusion about this. So, generally speaking, here it is. There's supplies like crafting supplies. There's handmade goods that either you handmade or you designed and had a manufacturer make for you. There's print on demand where you make a design, but another company makes and sells the item for you. And they have thousands of options, but things like t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, blankets, tote bags, shower curtains. I mean, it's endless. And however you want, you create this design to go on it. And when the customer orders, it goes straight through to the other company that makes it. And then they make it, package it, ship it for you. I recommend Printify if you want to look into print on demand because they have the best profit margins. I'm going to link it below because I can get you 30 days free of Printify Premium. And that's going to save you, I believe, 20% on your... it's going to, because you have to buy the product, right? You're paying for the blank product to them for them to make it for you. So that'll help you save money on and make more profit margin. The next option is digital products. So that's where like the customer is getting, a digital download at the end. There's nothing physical sent to them. It's something like a mock-up image or a PDF file download or a list of some kind, a printable, think about like a letter from Santa, printable. That's another option. And then there's vintage. So you can go to like thrift stores or Goodwill or estate sales and buy vintage items. They have to be 20 years or older, and you can sell those on Etsy if you're really into that kind of thing. And then the other option is you can sell like curated collections. So like a gift basket, but the items have to be sourced from different companies. It can't all be like Johnson & Johnson's baby stuff kind of thing for a baby gift basket. Your creative contribution to that product is the sourcing of the products to put together as a combination. So that is all super important about what you can sell. Like there's a whole list of prohibited items that you cannot sell. You're going to want to look at that. No matter what, they're not all obvious. So you want to go look at that for sure before you start up shop. And then the other thing I want to make sure and tell you is that you want to make sure that whatever you sell is not violating anyone else's intellectual property. So you will see on Etsy a bunch of shops that are breaking these rules and eventually going to get into a whole lot of trouble. So for example, intellectual property is anything that was created by someone else. And what makes it so popular on Etsy is that people recognize it. So Taylor Swift, for example, massive, massive brand that everyone recognizes. Of course, people are searching on Etsy for Taylor Swift merch and they're buying it left and right. The problem is that you as the seller have to pay for licensing from her, which I don't even think she offers. You have to pay Taylor Swift to license the right to sell products with her name on it because she gets a portion of it, right? It wouldn't make you a dime if she hadn't created the name for it. Another big one is like Disney. You'll see Disney stuff all over Etsy, and it's all intellectual property violation. Now, there are a few people who have much bigger companies that are on Etsy and other places as well, and they have paid Disney for the licensing to sell those products. And here's how you can tell. So if you see a shop that has less than 1,000 reviews on it, and they're selling any of this stuff like sports teams. This is not an all-inclusive list, by the way. This is not legal advice. I'm not a legal professional. It's just for like my experience for educational purposes for you. But anything like sports team related, anything musician related, TV related, movie related, any of that, like you'll see the show Friends stuff all over the place as well. You have to pay for the license to sell that stuff. The shops that are quote unquote look like they're getting away with it, you'll see they don't have more than they have under 1,000 reviews. And what's happening is those attorneys, they go and they do a sweep on Etsy every so often, and then those shops disappear. And then the next ones, because they think that they're killing it, because they're making all these sales banking on the name recognition of whatever brand they're stealing from. So at the very least, your shop will get shut down. There's often times where there's big lawsuits that happen against these Etsy sellers for using, intellectual property that they haven't licensed. So don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. That's the other big thing you can't sell. Okay, man, we're almost halfway through this list. We are cruising. Number 10 is your Etsy shop name doesn't matter very much. I see people get wrapped around the axle, spend so much time obsessing about what to name their shop. Honestly, pick something that's kind of memorable, but that doesn't really nail you down into a particular niche. Odds are at some point, you're probably going to change what you sell in your Etsy shop. So come up with something cute and memorable. The question is also going to be what's available because there's millions of sellers. So you've got to kind of test and see what's available on there. The point is just like, don't spend too much time on it. Pick some, you can also change it too. They'll give you at least one, if not two, shop name changes. So just like pick something and move on. The same goes for number 11 is for your shop branding. I will see people obsess for weeks about what their font is going to be and what their logo is going to be and what's going to go on their header. No, like take 10 minutes, set a timer, take 10. If you want to be generous, give yourself 20 minutes to get something put up and done. Because here's the reality. Your shop branding, it's going to come down to your shop header, your logo, and then basically like some of the graphics that are going to go in your listing pictures that are going to kind of show your branding on them. Pick something simple, pick something like really, really like a very legible, pick legible fonts. In like 6 weeks, you're going to want to change it. You're already going to be like, oh, this doesn't totally fit where I'm at now. So just get something up. When in doubt, of that 20 minutes you're giving yourself, take 5 minutes to go look at other shops that have tons of sales and look at their headers and see what they do. A lot of times it's like pictures of their products that are kind of curated, or it'll be a big open banner on the top and it'll just have, maybe like a tagline on it and some very simple, just keep it very simple. And then for your logo, all you need to do is go into Canva and like search their templates and look at like logos. And you can take one of those basic things, put your own thing in it, bada boom, you're done. So just don't get too precious about your branding or your shop name. Move on so that you can actually move into the, here's another one. It's which line item is this? I'm kind of skipping around. Here we go. So, it's the next one. I organize this well. Okay. Number 12 is that customers will experience your listings in the search results, not in your shop. So most customers aren't going to actually come over to your shop and look at the whole thing. They're going to do a search. They're going to go to the Etsy search bar, type in what they're looking for, and they're going to see your thumbnail picture in the sea of all the competition. And then if they're curious, if your thumbnail catches their eye, they will click on it and go over and look at the details of that listing. They generally won't go over to the shop. So again, another reason, spend more time on your listings rather than like the overall shop look. Number 13 is about search engine optimization, or SEO. And we kind of just alluded to that. So the point of the matter is that Etsy is a marketplace that is a search engine. So kind of like on Pinterest, when you go and you search something on Pinterest, you type something in the search bar and it gives you all of these results that are related to what you typed in. And it's trying to rank what it thinks will be most helpful for you to see. Etsy is doing the same thing. So whatever you title your product, your Etsy product, it needs to match what the customer would search. And this is one of those places where a course like my 6-Figure Secrets to Getting Started on Etsy is going to bypass a lot of time for you, because I'm going to show you how to do this. And also not just how to find what words to use, but how to find even what products to create, because there's demand there. Like the demand and the SEO really, really matters. If you are going to kind of go maybe like look at some YouTube videos and see what you can learn, I will let you know that there are 2 tools that I really like that help me establish demand, figure out what to sell, figure out what keywords to use, figure out where opportunities are. And they are Sale Samurai and Everbee. I will link those for you, but Sale Samurai helps me find opportunities by giving me like related keywords. So if I search something really broad, like Halloween PNG, it'll give me 500 related keywords that get more specific. So like Halloween PNG's probably got millions of competing listings, but if I get down in there, I could see like Coquette Ghost PNG maybe only has 1,000 competing listings. So rather than try to compete at Halloween PNG, I can niche down to Coquette Ghost PNG and design and create a listing for that instead. I'm not going to get too much. Again, we're avoiding getting in the weeds, right? That's the whole point. Number 14 on your SEO. So your SEO is going to go, your search terms are going to go on your title, your listing title, your description, and your tags. Those are the 3 places that SEO matter: your title, your descriptions, and your tags. And you want to maximize all the character spaces. A common mistake I see from beginners is that they will just put like a real short sentence on their listing title. So for that example, they would have just done Coquette Ghost PNG for Halloween, and that's it. But you get 140 character spaces. So do that, but then add a whole bunch of others that are related as well that will help you capture more searches than just the people who search coquette ghost PNG. So use all of your character spaces for your, not so much for your description, that doesn't matter, but for your titles and your tags. Number 15 is that images are critical. So again, if you imagine this search engine concept, someone's typing what they want in the search bar. All of these results are showing up. And your first impression is how your thumbnail looks. Like if you're showing up higher in those search results and they are scrolling, you need your image to make them go, oh, that's it. They feel so emotionally connected to it, and yours is the one that they want, and it's going to help you stand out. The other thing I want to tell you about your photo gallery is to use a listing video. You get a 15-second video for each listing. It's silent, it's just visual, but you're going to want to use those. It helps you rank higher in the algorithm. And the other thing you want to do in your photo gallery, this is a pro tip. So most shoppers on Etsy will not read the product description. It's kind of hard to find, especially on the app. It's not the best. And people just prefer to use visuals. So they're going to just swipe through your photo gallery. And so things that you think wouldn't go in there because they don't look pretty, it's just text like information like dimensions or materials or sizes. Put those in your photo gallery, because if a shopper can't find what they're looking for in your photo gallery, they're just going to click away to someone else who has an answer to their question. They're usually not going to DM you. It's like you get lucky if someone DMs you to ask. Instead, just make sure you have that stuff answered in your gallery. Okay, we're going to talk about, so on the same topic as your thumbnail pictures and your images, like I would say shoppers on Etsy and generally in our marketplace today, we expect a lot visually. So if you are, for example, going into the print on demand where you're creating designs to have printed on things, or the digital space where you're creating some kind of a digital product, they have to look really good. It can't be halfway. And by the way, give yourself some grace. It's going to take some time to get there, but they need to be top tier. And so if you are not a good designer, there's a couple things I'm going to suggest. First of all, study the best sellers left and right. Like look all over Etsy and let your eyes and your brain absorb the kinds of concepts and designs and fonts and elements that people love. You'll know they love them because the listing will be a bestseller and they're selling a lot of them. And then the other tip is, like, because I'm not a good designer, but I know how to source the things that I need. So Creative Fabrica is kind of a industry secret. It's a website that you can get a membership to. It's not expensive at all per month. It's like a monthly thing. You'll have access to over 1 million elements and fonts. So for example, if I was going to make a coquette ghost PNG, I could go on to Creative Fabrica and I could find a really cute ghost base and I could find some really cute bows that I could tie into the design to make it coquette and put all that together to create my own unique design, and it would be high quality enough to sell. Whereas if you put me into Procreate or into Illustrator to actually create my own ghost, oh my gosh, like my 9-year-old daughter could do better. So I use that. And the other tool that I love, I will link the Creative Fabrica. I have a coupon code for them too. The other thing that I love is Midjourney, which is an AI tool that creates images. And I have used it actually to create content for, or I should say listings, products for 2 whole digital product Etsy shops that I make sales from every day. And one of them is, or they're both, let me think. No, yeah, they're 2 different kinds of mock-ups. They're mock-up shops. So I am using that Midjourney and prompting it to create those products to sell. I actually have a beginner workshop on Midjourney for mock-ups. So if you're curious about that, you want to learn more, it's not expensive at all. I'll link it and you could take, it's just a recorded workshop that you could watch and learn how to do all of that. Oh, what's kind of cool about that too is if you're selling for print on demand, you for sure want to use mock-ups to show your product, right? Because, you're not going to go buy every single design. Like you're not going to have all those shirts or whatever sent to you. You can just buy the mock-up on Etsy, or you can create them yourself in Midjourney, put your design on it, and you can test selling things that you haven't even made before. And that is like a huge, oh gosh, once I learned that at my Etsy shop, it changed everything. Okay, number 17. Learn from the competition. Don't copy the competition, but learn from them. So whatever you choose to sell, find 3 to 5 shops that have thousands and thousands of sales, that have tons of bestsellers, and pay attention to what they do. How do they price their products? How do they write their SEO? What's in their description in their photo gallery? You're not trying to go copy whatever they've made. Just learn from their experience by studying how they've set things up. Do they have a frequently asked questions section? What's in there? Because you're probably going to get the same questions. And then the other pro tip is to look at their reviews, because anything that they are not doing well or they are doing well, you're going to see from the reviews, and you can either level up your shop and add the thing that they don't want to do that people complain about, or you can see what people really love about what they do and make sure that you do that too. So that is huge. Yeah. Listings, titles, pictures, descriptions, tags, their reviews, their FAQs. Let your competitors be your teachers. Oh, I love that. Number 18. Here's the deal. People kind of get, again, stuck in the weeds about over-analyzing. They get up 5 listings and they're just obsessively checking their stats all the time. No. We're not doing that. For 30 days, just keep adding listings. Like, try to get, 50 to 100 up within 30 days. I am challenging you. If it's less than that, you're still going to live. But I'm just saying, like, if you're so busy creating and up-leveling your skill, you're not going to be obsessed in the stats. You're not going to have time for it. So get your listings up, see what happens. Give the algorithm on Etsy time to figure out how to sort your new shop, how to rank you. And like, if 30 days have gone by and you're still not getting any sales, then maybe consider a low ticket course. Maybe consider studying more on YouTube if that's like more what's right for you. Maybe consider a one-on-one Etsy coaching session and find out what's happening. But within 30 days, if you are adding enough listings to get to 100, you should start making sales and seeing what's working. And then you're going to be your own teacher. You're going to learn from what's working for you. Number 19 is for my perfectionists. I hear you. I see you. I completely get it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you try to be perfect, you're never going to start, or you're never going to grow, and you're going to burn out. So here's your new mantra. Done is better than perfect. And you're going to be okay. So just take the next best step, keep creating, keep moving forward, move forward. Don't let yourself stall. And then number 20, which is our last one, is that consistency is key. And I said this earlier, but it's actually perfect to end on as well. First of all, Etsy's an algorithm. So just like you hear about the Instagram algorithm and how they want you to constantly post, and kind of the more consistently you post on Instagram, the better your reach gets and your account grows. And we all just kind of go, oh my gosh, I don't have time for that. And I totally get that. Like on Instagram, it can be very, I'm in the middle of that right now, like really trying to push for some growth. And the consistent content when you're not seeing the results can be frustrating and disheartening. But I know, because I've watched this for other people and I've listened to my mentors, that if I'm consistent for like 90 days, obviously beyond that, but like if I just buckle down for 90 days and create content consistently, my account will grow and my reach will expand. And I did experience that on TikTok. I challenged myself a few years ago to post on TikTok once a day for 30 days. And I had a few things pop off and go like semi-viral, and that changed everything. I was like, okay, I get it now. So Etsy's algorithm is like Instagram in that it responds well to activity on your account, to you creating more listings, to people looking at your listings, to shoppers favoriting your listings, to people buying your listings. The activity feeds the monster and helps your business grow. So be consistent. Right now, control your controllables. You can control new listings going into your shop. Keep adding those listings. Consistency is key. So, oh my gosh, that was such a lightning round. You now know that Lizzie talks very fast. My husband laughs at me and says that I'm like Alvin and the Chipmunks. And whereas most people, you want to speed up to 1.5 speed on a podcast, with me, sometimes you got to slow me down. But I hope this is packed with information. I hope you had aha moments. I hope you feel more confident going forward. And if you want to work with me, if you'd like for me to hold your hand, if you would like to really dive into how to get started on Etsy and those secrets that I have from all of these years. I've been on Etsy since 2016. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on the platform. I've run several shops, so I know all of them: print on demand, digital products, and physical products. I didn't do vintage. There are other people who are good at that. But come grab the 6-figure secrets to getting started on Etsy. It's at an incredibly crazy low price. You can't go wrong. And we will get you there. We will get you there. And at the very least, I will see you back next week. We are going to have an incredible interview with a print-on-demand expert. Her name is Brittany Lewis. She is Be a Wolf Biz on Instagram, and this girl is fire, and she creates so many six-figure sellers on Etsy and print-on-demand. We are going to talk about like prepping for Q4, not prepping for, about like how to really like kick your business up Q4. She's going to challenge you and inspire you. And at the very least, I will see you next week, same time, same place. I love you guys so much. I'm like over here talking a million miles a minute, so excited. I'm so excited for you because this is the time of year when people really realize I can do this and I can make some good money. And it can, again, what does success look like for you? This is the time of year where you can see those results come in and you can start moving toward the goals. And all I really want is a front row seat to watch you do it. So please keep me posted on your progress. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a while since we did a solo episode. But until next week, go make something awesome. Take care. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.